Hello, my name is Dwayne. I'm the shop manager here at Cornhole, and today we're going to show you how to install cornhole wrap. Hopefully you got it from us, or you're thinking about buying one from us, but if you didn't or you're not, the video still works just the same. We'll show you how to do this. First thing you need to know is the tools that you're going to need to have in order to install the wrap. Obviously we do this every day, all day, and so we've got certain setups that you might not have, but no matter what, it's just some of the things you have around the house you should be able to use in order to get the job done. So the first thing that you're going to need is some tape. Some painter's tape works great, or some finger clamps. I prefer to use the finger clamps, but the tape works just as well. The next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need either a squeegee. We get these squeegees off of Amazon. I'll include a link below in the description. They're just basic plastic squeegees, but they've got some felt that's glued onto the bottom. If you don't have that, or you're not going to go to Amazon and get that, a credit card works just as well. The only thing I would recommend is just get a piece of cloth, old t-shirt or something, and then you're just going to wrap it around the credit card when you go to apply the wrap, and that'll keep you from scratching it at all. So again, squeegee or credit card works just as well. You're also going to need a knife, razor knife, one like this, or you can use a utility knife. I would recommend a razor knife over a utility knife, and that'll become clear when I show you how to trim the wrap at the end, and also for doing the hole. Again, you can pick these up at your local home center, Home Depot, Lowe's. They're a few bucks. Super sharp, so be careful, but either a razor knife or a utility knife. And the last thing you're going to need is a straight edge. I use a folding straight edge. This is a bar off of a square that you use for drywall, and you can see I put blue tape on the back. Whatever straight edge you do, if you get an aluminum one, aluminum and paint don't mix well, it marks it up, so I always just put a piece of blue painter's tape on the back. And if you don't have something that will go the entire length of the cornhole board, you can always use a framing square or any other straight edge that you have laying around the house. So those are the tools that you'll need in order to be able to install the wrap. When we install the wrap, you're going to make what's called a hinge, and that's real simple, and what it does is it allows you to be able to make sure that the wrap stays where you want it to stay. And so before we can make the hinge, we've got to put the wrap on the board where you want it to go. The best way to do that is just simply to line it up. You're going to take your I use my thumb, and I kind of just make sure that it's got a little bit of overage to it. The wraps are going to come 24 by 48 with extra material on the sides. Your board should be 24 by 48, and you're going to trim a little bit inside of that. So you're going to have a little bit of waste, which is good. So when you're measuring where to put it on the board, again, I always just take my thumb and I kind of bend over the wrap a little bit just to make sure that I've got a little bit of over on either side. And then I do the same thing at the end. I just take my thumb and bend it over, and I'm just going to move the wrap around until I get it pretty much centered or squared up on the board where I think is good. And then if I have it all set, then I'm going to take tape, and I'm going to tape it around here and around the center, and that's what's called our hinge. We'll use tape if you have that at home. Now, since we do this all the time, I'm going to use these finger clamps. I get them at Harbor Freight. They're like $3 for 1,000 of them. I mean, it's something ridiculous. You get a whole bunch for a very short amount of money. And so I'm just going to clamp it right there, and I'm going to clamp it right here at the end as well too. And again, wherever you see me putting a clamp is just a spot where you would put some tape. And what this is going to do is it's going to make sure that this wrap is not going to move. So now it's stationary here on the board. It's not going to move. I don't have to worry about it. So again, if you're at home and you don't have these finger clamps, all you're going to do is use some painter's tape, and you're going to tape around the edge down to your board, around the edge over there, and on the bottom side as well too. And that keeps the wrap from moving around. Then you're going to be able to lift up this end of the wrap, and then this is the end of the wrap that we're going to be working from right here. So to start the process, it's really very, very simple. And I did leave out one tool, and having a pair of scissors is going to work out real well for you as well. So all we do is we start right here at the top. We're going to peel the wrap off, just like this, just to get it going. Peel it off like that. Don't be afraid, you're not going to hurt it. I'm holding the piece of backer or the liner down as I pull the wrap up. Just continue to keep pulling it up like this. And you're going to go up as far as you're comfortable. Again, you're not going to hurt anything. These the wraps that we sell, you can get either laminated or non-laminated. This is a laminated wrap that I happen to be working with. When we apply the laminate to the wrap, which is just a protective coating so it doesn't scratch, so when you throw the bags at it, you don't hurt the image that's on the wrap. If you don't get a laminated wrap, you don't have to, but you will need to put several coats of clear or sealer over the wrap before you play, otherwise you will damage the wrap. So we've got the wrap pulled back from the release liner. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pair of scissors. I've got it back about 16 to 18 inches or so, and I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut the release liner off. Take that and throw it aside. We don't do that anymore. Then I'm going to grab the wrap with both fingers. I'm going to pull it over like this, and I'm not going to apply any pressure down. I'm just going to lay it there. The wrap's not stuck. You can pick it up and you can move it if you want. I'm going to grab it right here by the center. I'm going to take my squeegee. Now, where I cut the release liner, I want to go well past it. If I don't go to where I cut the release liner, I have the chance of trapping some air in, which is going to be very bad. Yes, you could still work it out, but we want to eliminate that if possible. So we're going to start from well back over here. My release line is right here where I cut that release liner. I'm going to start well back over here, and I'm just going to drag my squeegee over it like that. Now, this wrap is stuck. Now, not only is it stuck because it's got clamps, but you've got a big surface area now that is literally stuck to the board. So this wrap can't move left or right. Where it's going to be is where it's going to be. And then, again, pick this up over here. You can see the wrap is still loose. It's only stuck where I dragged the squeegee. I'm going to do it again. And I'm just going to keep working until I get to the edge. And there we go. That portion is down. Very simple, very easy. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to grab the corner and lift it up. You can see how it's not stuck. Again, I'm going to start well over the cut line where the release was. And I'm going to drag it just like this. Work my way back over here around the hole. Obviously, there's a hole cut in the cornhole board. You want to do that before you put the wrap on. And then I'm just going to continue. Again, this is still lifted up. I'm going to continue and I'm going to work this wrap all the way over to this edge right over here. Here we go, we're done. The top side is now on. Pretty simple. Now I can go ahead and release the tape that I have here or my clamps. Same thing in the back, you can do it all. Release the tape and the clamps. Now, this side is done. Now you can throw it all the way over here and you can pull this release liner back, but to me there's a lot of exposed open wrap that way. I choose not to do that. There are a lot of guys that do it that way, and you can do it that way. It's not necessarily good or bad. It's just not the way that I do it. So what I do is I take it from back here and I'm going to roll it up. And I roll this up to where my release line was, and you can see it. You probably can't see this in the camera, but I can see it here on the wrap where the liner is and where the non-liner is, where it's already adhered to the board. So I'm going to pull it back here. I'm going to grab this release liner from underneath here. I'm going to pull it up. Now, I'm going to take my squeegee. I'm going to put it on the wrap. I'm going to pull the release liner that way and pull the squeegee down to keep it tight so that I can apply the wrap directly to the board. So as I pull, I'm just sliding that squeegee, and I go about another half distance. So we did about a third. I did about another third. Now, we're stuck right here. Now, I have to get the rest of the wrap down on that side of that line and on this side of that line. So I'm just going to take my squeegee and I'm going to hold it at an angle to the board and an angle this way. I want this trailing end to be farther back. Again, I'm going to start from well over where it's already released because I don't want to trap any air. So all I'm going to do is just drag my squeegee, take your time, put light pressure on. You don't have to, you're not killing it, you're not trying to hurt it onto the board, just nice and easy, light pressure. And we're just going to go right over to the edge. Now that side's done. I'm going to do the same thing this way, but I'm going to reverse the angle. So instead of being that way, I'm coming at it this way. I want to make sure that as I'm pushing this, if you grew up north and you got snow, like I'm pushing snow out of the way. We're just going to do this on this side. Notice I don't need two hands, nice and easy. Again, I'm coming well over where it's already attached to make sure I'm not trapping any air in. And there we go, and that side's done. Now look, this 2/3 of the board is completely finished. The next thing I do is, again, we've got the release liner, we've got our wrap. I'm going to put my arm underneath here, and I'm doing that because I want to support the vinyl as much as I can. I'm going to grab this release liner, my arm is under here against this, and I'm just going to pull it off the rest of the way. And then we can throw that away. We're almost done getting it stuck to the board. So now I've got this piece of vinyl left, and that's it. And it's real simple, and I apologize, you're going to see my back. I'm going to grab both corners, and I'm going to work this the same way that I did the top side. I'm going to grab it right here in the center and lift up a little bit. Again, I'm going to come well past where the release line is here, so over here, so I don't trap any air in. I'm going to just drag it right down the center. Then I'm going to come pick this corner up. You can see it's not stuck. Again, starting from well up here and just working my way over. Here we go. And I'm stuck on there like that. And then we're going to do the same thing over on this side. So we're finished over here. Done this 1,000 times. It's not hard to do. Just work out the squeegee. And I'm just going to do this just as a second guess. And you can feel it if there's any air bubbles when you're dragging the squeegee over. And I know there aren't any, but I just do that way you can feel it. So now we've got our wraps on. Oop, there's one right there. Here we go. It's all better. So our wrap is completely on. The next step, and that was super simple and super quick and super easy. The next step we're going to do is we're going to trim the edge. So for that, again, I use a razor knife and we use a straight edge. Now, I built a gauge block, but again, I do this all the time. So I have this little block that I have a gap cut into. Hope the camera can pick that up. So then what I do is I take this and I put it against the edge of the board and down, and it gives me a gap to pull over to. If you don't have that at home, you don't need it. You simply take your thumbs, I push in to the side of the edge of the wrap. I can then take this straight edge and I can line it up by sight just to make sure that that gap is the same and even. And if it is, you can have someone hold it in for you if you want. If you feel comfortable doing it all on your own, you do it all on your own. If you don't have a full length one and you're doing this, the same principle applies. You just put it on there, you put your thumbs down, you get the gap set so that's the amount that you want, that you're comfortable with, and then all you're going to do from this point is you're going to score your vinyl. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 clamps on, but again, you don't have to do this. You can just, I don't know what I do with my thing, there it is right there, gauge block. So I'm going to clamp this on here like this. If you have these, this is great. It just makes it a little bit easier. If you don't, again, not that big a deal. Just take your time, go slow. When you're using the knife, I always extend it out at least about 1 inch from the end of the knife. A lot of people think that they should only extend it out 1/4 inch, and you can, but it's better to extend it out a good inch. And the reason why is I don't want the body of this or the body of this razor, this utility knife, to bind against the edge of my straight edge. Because if I do that, it's going to push the blade away and then I won't have a straight line. So again, I put it out about 1 inch, come over here and grab the vinyl. You can't hurt anything. You can't go too far because it's protected, so don't worry about it. Just remember that this is sharp. Put it on there. You're just going to use light pressure right into the wood, drag it down all the way, and peel it off. It's that simple. The stuff's pretty sticky. Got a garbage can here. I'll toss that in there. That side's done. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I do either long length first. So I'm going to come over here and do the exact same thing on this side. And I'll show you that you don't need to have this gauge block, and you don't need to have the clamps to do this either. I just do it because we do it all the time. It's easier. I can go quicker. So I'm just going to take this, drag it up like that, hold it down, drag it up like this, and there we go. No gauge blocks, no clamps, and I did the exact same thing. There, that one's done. Then I'm going to do the ends. Same process. I'm going to just use my thumbs. I'm going to put it up against the edge of my cornhole board. I'm going to sight down my straight edge to make sure that my gap is even. Taking my knife again. Now, one thing that I didn't address is that we round the corners of our boards. Your board, wherever you bought it from, or if you made it, you may not have done a rounded edge. So what that means is that I can't start all the way at the very beginning because there's nothing there. The corner's rounded. So I have to come in a couple inches. So I start there and take my knife, and then I reverse it that last little bit, and I go back over that way, and then it peels right off. If you had a straight corner, you could start right from the very end and work it all the way across. So that one's done. Now, last one at this end here. Again, I put my thumbs flat on the edge of the board, line it up so that my reveal is the same, or my gap. One cut there, one cut there. Now we're almost done. I have an extra step to do, simply because we have rounded corners and you don't. Now let me grab my special tool for that. Sorry to go off camera, I should have had this over here. I simply use a can of spray paint, and I put it on the corner, line it up, round it around, make my cut, peel it up, and when I get over there by the camera, I'll show you. I just take it and I take the part that I've cut off, pick it up, and I just put it on the can, and as you can see, we've got built up because we do this quite a bit. I think this is the last one. Cut this one here. There we go. Oh, this side. One more to do. Okay, there we go. So all of the edges are done. I did my rounded corners. And the last one that, when I talk to folks, they're the most concerned with, or the most scared about, is actually cutting the hole. And how do we cut the hole and make it look good? Another reason why I prefer one of these razor knives to a utility blade, because what we're going to do is we're going to come in at a pretty shallow angle and we're going to walk it around. We're not going to use our hand like this because we can end up doing this business. We want to keep it stationary and steady. Again, it's not very hard to do. I'm just going to go right into the vinyl, come right over the edge. I'm holding this at about 30 degrees, and I'm simply going to walk the knife around like this, and then before pulling it out, I'm going to twist it. That lifts the vinyl up. I can grab it with my hand, and I can walk around this side. I come ahead of where my last cut was, so that I can get the knife down where I want, at the same angle, about 30 degrees, and I can go like this, and voila, the hole is done. All cut, simple, nice and easy. And there you go. You've got one cornhole wrap successfully installed, no headache, no issue. Really, really easy to do. The great thing about wraps, whether you get them for us or you get them anywhere, there's plenty of people that sell wraps. We use 3M vinyl, probably the best vinyl out there. I don't think anybody would argue that. We laminate them, or we can laminate them, which I strongly suggest, and you've got a cornhole board that looks fantastic, will last for years and years, and if you ever want to change the look of your cornhole board, it's as simple as peel this off, lightly sand it down, buy a new set, wrap it up, and away you go. Every year, 2 or 3, you can completely change the look of your wraps. So I hope that was helpful. I am going to create another video, one that's going to show you how to do a wrap that has a graphic around the hole, because when you do that, you want to make absolutely certain that you are dead center in that hole. I'm going to do another video for that. You'll have to make a small little jig with a piece of plywood. It's real simple, but I'll film that for you. I'll video that, and that way when you want to get a wrap that's got a graphic around the hole, you won't have to worry about it at all. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, you need any help, by all means, feel free to leave it comment down below, and we'll get back to you as quick as we can. Thank you.